Hello, Shiners. It's your boy, Cy Emery, aka Coach Cook, coming to you with another episode of Release the Light. Release the Light is a positive platform dedicated to encouraging you to shine, to be your best self, to spread all of your positive energy upon the earth. On today's episode of Release the Light, we are at the 32nd Street Mercantile in Camp Hill, PA for a book signing and a book reading. We'll be reading today from my new book, Blurred Pains by Cy Emery, out now on Amazon. But before we get into the reading and the book signing, I want to give you a little bit of history about my writing journey. I started writing in 2015. I retired from education, 35 years of teaching. We have some people here in the audience. I appreciate them so much for letting me set up like this and take some time with you, my subscribers, who is a big, big part of my success in writing and also this YouTube channel. Now, if this is the first time you've tuned in to Release the Light, hey, smash that subscribe button and become a shiner. I would love to have you as part of our tribe. And now we're going to take 10 seconds so you can do that. That's the old Jeopardy music. I do not own the rights to that music. All right, so in getting back to my writing journey, when I retired from education in 2014, that's teaching and coaching. Wow, it'll be 11 years in June. My first year out, I was a lazy bum. I didn't do anything. My second year, I got bored, and I decided I wanted to try my hand at writing. Excuse the pun, handwriting. And I didn't know anything about writing. I was the gym teacher. I was the health teacher. I wasn't the English teacher or the journalism teacher. So I went on YouTube. You know you can find anything on YouTube. And I took some tutorials. I learned how to speak in my active voice when I'm writing and how to phrase certain things, how to put you in a room and smell the smells and hear the sounds, all the whispers. And 2 years later, I penned my first book, Blurred Pains. Now, this is a 3-book series. Blurred Pains is on the effects of bullying. I have my main character, Joseph Graham. Joseph is this guy. Talk about an adrenaline junkie. This little kid, you'll meet his crew, you'll meet his family, you'll meet the town that he grew up in. And you'll also meet those individuals, some older kids that really gave Joseph a hard time. In my first book, there's a prophecy that's revealed. There's also a promise. A prophecy and a promise. That prophecy and that promise is the thread that's weaved through all 3 books. So, not only are there gifts and prophecies and promises, prophecies and the promise, but then there's spiritual gifts as well. So that's book 1. Book 2 came about at the end of book 1, at the beginning of Integrated Schools in the South. That's Over the Tracks. Why Over the Tracks a title? Well, the races down south were separated by the railroad tracks. A lot of people didn't know that. The blacks lived on the west side of the tracks, where most of the agriculture was, and the whites lived on the east side of the tracks, the high property value side, the beach side, intercoastal side. Thus the title of the book, Over the Tracks. So when integrated schools came in, all the schools on the west side of the tracks were closed down, and students from the west side had to go over to the east side of the tracks for school. And that book deals with overcoming loss. I write about the things that bugged me when I taught school. Bullying was one. I didn't stand for it at all. And grief, loss. Sometimes kids would come in and things were just a little off, and you really didn't know what was going on in their life. You know, they maybe not a little sad, a little distant. Distant would be a good word. And they just weren't themselves. So you go down to guidance and say, what's wrong with Johnny or Judy today? And they'll say, well, they lost their grandparent, or a family pet that was as old as they were, that was in the family. And so they just need some time to themselves. So that book deals with, and why did I choose that topic? Well, the kids on the west side of the tracks were dealing with their loss, their high school. They had the third generation going. They had always looked up to their siblings, and they wanted to become a Jaguar too. And boom, all of a sudden, it's gone. Well, the kids on the east side of the tracks, many of them lost their friends because their parents took them out of public school and enrolled them in private school. So now they were dealing with loss as well. And now here's some kid sitting next to you that you never met, you didn't know, and your friend who you've gone to school with for 7 years, he or she is no longer there. Good book, man. A lot of emotions are in that book. That book actually shows how the races came together. In book number 1, there's a race riot in this town. The parents were just at odds with each other. A year and a half later, now these same parents are sitting in the audience watching a sporting event or a play together or at a music recital. And now they go to the concession stand and they overhear the various different family members talking, and they find out, well, wow, they want the same thing for their kids as we do. Wow, they're dealing with some of the same things at home that we're dealing with. And see, otherwise, you would never have known that unless people get together and they talk and they communicate with each other or in the same proximity of each other. So the kids actually brought the town together because now they are in events together, and they started to denounce all the crazy things that adults were saying about the other race. Because, no, that's my brother on the basketball team, that's my brother on the football team, that's my bandmate, that's my friend, we're in a play together, we gotta go practice our lines together. And so they didn't see all of that silly things that prejudgments that parents had placed on individuals from the different races. So, really good book. Now, the Pista Resistant.
Yeah.
Fleur Haynes. Oh my goodness. This book here took me 4 years to finish this book. 4 years. It wraps up everything in the 2 books, and it brings it to its conclusion. But I give you guys, my shiners and my people that are here, that came to the book signing, book reading, a lot of clues. I also set forth what's to come in my next 3 books in this book. So you get a chance to, once the other 3 books come out, series, you'll be way ahead of the game if you get Blurred Pains. So Blurred Pains deals with affirmation, how we all need to feel affirmed, encouraged, supported. Our main character, Joseph Graham, gets a lot of support from some of his friends, definitely his mom. She's his main cheerleader. She is his moral compass. His father, you got to go back to the other two books. It's kind of, he's a weekend alcoholic to say the least. So, but he's a stand-up guy during the week, works 5 days a week, really hard, a great provider. But Friday and Saturday, not such a great guy. Never anything physical, but just very verbally abusive. So, Joseph gets his work ethic from his dad, but his spirituality and his morality from his mom. So as the first half of the book deals with that affirmation, the second half of the book deals with depression. And we look at it from a teen perspective. Joseph loses his primary affirmer and he just totally falls off the rail. Otherwise, he's a good kid, but it just shows how things can affect not just young people, but even adults when you don't deal with it properly. And in this book here, Joseph really knows what to do because he's helping some of his friends through the grieving process that they were dealing with, on both sides of the tracks. But then when it became his turn, he did it. And man, that's all I'm going to tell you about that. And so, you got to read it. So now I wanted to take a few minutes and read from the book. I wanted to kind of give you some background of the series. The series is done. Hopefully in a year or so, I'll start a new series. But I really want to appreciate this series first. So I went through the book. You can see I have markers everywhere. And I'm going to jump around, guys, if that's all right with you. Because these guys are so special. They let me set this up. They let me film for my YouTube channel. And I just appreciate them so very much. So this is what I'm going to do. To give you an idea about Joseph. This book here, okay. The spiritual gifts. Sorry for the deep pause. I didn't know where I wanted to go. So, the prophecy, the promise, and the gifts. So Joseph has denounced. He hadn't denounced them yet, but he just wants to be a kid like everybody else. You know what I mean? When parents want you to, be this, I just want to be a kid. I just want to play hoops. I just want to chase the skirts. I just want to be a kid. But he has a destiny. Because his mom actually spoke into him. Because she had this vision of him even before he was born. And so she's telling him about his destiny and about some of his giftings. So we hop on the back of urban legend. This urban legend that says, kids that are born with a veil, meaning the amniotic sac is still over his or her face when they're born. That they have certain giftings. They can look into certain things, certain gifts of prophecy, etc. So we piggyback on that kind of through the whole series. So now in the third book, Joseph has a dilemma because darkness is on his tail, trying to steal his light. And Mama has told him that you got everything you need to defeat him or her. You just got to believe. And Joseph was like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" And she told him that he's going to come after you in the things that you cherish the most. So you got to guard your heart. Don't let darkness get into your heart. So now we start book number 3. And Joseph started out, even in book 1, with these flying dreams. I know I'm going to this long just days, but when I start reading, I'm just going to be flying. And he didn't know about these flying dreams, but all he knew was that he would fly certain places, and his friends just took it as nothing strange. It's just Joseph. He's always doing something with it. And so as he grows up, he started to see more of his new crew in his flying dreams. And so once they would get together and start to talk, they would find out that they were sharing the same dream. Woo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. So here we go. I'm going to start with chapter 1 in Blurred Panes, and it's entitled Premonitions. So now Robert is actually Joseph's, we call him JG in the book, best friend on the west side of the tracks. So before Robert, there was Benny Lee, but Robert is this kid, kind of pudgy kid, but he gets a lot of energy from Robert, and Robert gets a lot of energy from him. So whenever things are going crazy, the bullies with da-da-da-da-da, he's just like, go and visit his friend Robert, or call his friend Robert. So here we go, chapter 1, Premonitions. The walls held the summer heat. Sweat rolled from my forehead in the tiny cinder block house. I rocked, swayed, and raced to keep up with him. His shoulders looked slimmer and more agile as he soared among the clouds with speed and grace. "Come on, Jay, you slowpoke," Robert joked as his feet touched down at the Frosty Cone ice cream shop on the west side of town. "Let's get some fuel for the tank. What do you want?" "I'll treat," he offered. "Okay, Daddy Big Bucks. I'll take a strawberry milkshake," I said. "Nah, I don't have big bucks. I got paid Saturday, and I waited until today to cash my check," said Robert. Robert Mason had been my good friend since grammar school. He and I were the only two oddballs, light-skinned light-skinned males with freckles and reddish-brown hair in our grade. "Can I help you?" the lady at the window interrupted. "One strawberry milkshake and an orange soda," Robert replied. "That's it, just rub it in," I pouted. He turned with squinted eyes. What in?" he asked. "Everyone's getting paid, making bread but me," I complained. He pulled me aside. "Why do you always do that?" he asked with concern. "Do what?" "Complain like that when you know it's going to work out." Keep that in mind, that line right there. That's easy for you to say. Your pockets are full. Well, I predict it won't be long before your pockets will be full too. Woo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay. Then he gave me that smile. His twinkle-eyed, rosy-cheeked smile that said, "Come on, give me one back. Come on. Come on." He waited. I couldn't resist. My lips parted, exposed my upper row. Holding his signature smile, he nodded his approval. "One strawberry milkshake and an orange soda," announced the lady at the window. Robert turned, grabbed both, and passed me mine. Placing my lips on the tip of the straw to savor the creamy delight, the soft rays of morning pulled at my blinds, causing me to find refuge on the other side of my pillow. Mama's voice in the distance drew my blinds. I cleared my thoughts and welcomed a new day. After 2 weeks of summer vacation from school, my diet of soft drinks had drained my pocket. Mr. Woolley's daughter returned from college to resume her desk job at the funeral home to answer the phone. So this kid used to answer phones at the funeral home. This is Joseph. Now he's going to tell you about his hustling. That left me unemployed. I needed to get a job. But there was one problem. I was only 13. You had to be 14 to get a check-paying job. Stocking shelves at the department store, bagging groceries. I wouldn't turn 14 for a month. While seeking employment, all managers would say, "Come back when you're 14, and we'll have something for you." They were just being nice. All the summer jobs would have been filled by then, and summer would be half over. I needed money now. A lot of kids were running errands, delivering packages for the gangsters and the drug dealers. I didn't want to go back to hustling on the streets. I had hustled on Franklin Street, the main street in Reservoir City, since I was 9 or 10. I had done everything from sweeping floors to selling fruit, from shining shoes to gambling with adults. I knew how to survive. Thanks to my old crew, the FCC, which stood for Franklin Court Crew, where they lived. Most of the kids in my crew lived in those apartments. They showed me the ropes of hustling. But the streets had changed, and so had I. We both were smarter. I could keep up, but my heart didn't want it anymore. Marred by nightmares of escaping gunfire, a scorpion's sting, a race riot, and seconds away from drowning, I was done with that life. But what was I to do? I needed money. So I'm going to stop right there. A lot of kids are in that same situation, or at least they feel like they're in that same situation, like no way out. They want Nikes too, but their parents can't afford to get them. They want a nice pair of jeans too, and so they feel they have no other way out, and now that's when darkness gets a chance to creep in. So that's Joseph's dilemma during the first half of this book. What is he going to do? So I'm going to skip over. I'm not going to go. Okay. So he runs into one of his old foes, and he gives it. I don't want to read that. And he did. Okay. Okay. I'm going down here. I think this will kind of sum up a lot of kids' dilemma. A lot of adults too. This was the first news from Benny in almost a year. Benny Lee was his best friend. There was a guy that gave him a message from juvie that just got out of juvie that Benny was okay. I lost contact with them when we got our new phone number, and they didn't allow calls into the inmates. There were so many questions I wanted to ask Roscoe. How does he look? Is he taller, heavier, thinner? Is his hair long or short? Did he pass his math class this year? He struggled with math. Does he still like to play football on Saturday, on the weekends? I wanted to ask all of these and more, but I couldn't. I had to keep a straight face. But Roscoe knew the message brought comfort. It was like a warm blanket spread over my heart. I gave him a slight nod. Thank you. Sure, man. No problem, he replied. Then the door at Ray's opened. Is everything all right, Joseph? Asked Mr. Ray, the white store owner. in his deep southern dialect. He saw the encounter from the big storefront window. "Everything's fine, Mr. Ray," I answered. "See you around, Jay," said Roscoe, walking away. His crew was right behind him. "See you, Roscoe." Mr. Ray went inside. I followed. As this wide white mountain of a man turned to go behind the counter, a younger black version came toward me. "JG, how's it hanging, brother?" Ox greeted, giving me the soul brother handshake. Otis the Ox Walters was also a member of the now disbanded FCC crew. I used to check his homework on our walks to school. He quit school last year to take care of his ailing grandmother, who was diagnosed with cancer. Now he works for Silk Jenkins, the neighborhood gangster who runs the Midtown underworld. "A little to the left," I joked. "Did you see those two clowns?" I asked. "Yeah, Roscoe and them, you mean?" "I saw them," he answered. "Yo, they came at me so hard outside." I squealed. "What? Why didn't you come in and get me?" said Ox. "I didn't know you was in here." "You want to go get them?" he asked. "No, Ox. Let me finish." Roscoe chilled and told me he had a message from Benny Lee. "He did? What did he say?" He said Benny said he's okay and for me to keep playing basketball. "So Benny's okay?" I asked. "Sounds like it." I grabbed a bag of chips from the counter. "That's good. I miss him." "I'm glad he's good," Ox confessed. "I miss him too, Ox." "So what's up with you?" he asked. We walked to the counter and paid for our goods. "Nothing much, man. I need to find a job." "Did you try older tracks at the new shopping plaza?" "Yeah, but you got to be 14. I don't turn 14 until next month." "I feel you, man. That's messed up," he sympathized. Once outside, he pulled me around the building. "Look, if you ever need something or want to make some quick bread, I'll give you the hookup with Silk. It's good money and you don't have to work hard, just late sometimes," he informed. He took out a wad of money from his front pocket the size of a baseball. My eyes stretched, mouth gaped. "I make about $20 a day," he said, and slid the wad back into its resting place. "Let me know. I'll let you know about it tomorrow," I said. "Sure, man. No worries. I got you back," he said, giving me the Soul Brothers handshake again. We parted ways. I thought about Ox's wad for the rest of the day. Lying in my bed that night, I imagined the morning's headline: "Family beats teen boy to death for mob affiliation." If my parents weren't found guilty, my siblings would be. But all I needed was 2 weeks of work with Silk. I would have enough money to last me the whole summer. Just 2 weeks. My eyelids closed in mid-thought. So what do you think Joseph did? Aha! You gotta get the book to read it. You gotta get the book. So, but yeah. Now, his friend, the year previous. Now, Ox is a year older than them. So Ox turned 14 last year. So Ox is 15 now. So Joseph's gonna be turning 14. All his friends are like turning 14. That are 14. And so Ox's grandmother, has cancer. And she was down to taking half a tablet because she couldn't afford to get the whole prescription. and he found the letter on the counter saying that she had been diagnosed, and kind of found out that because she was just living on Social Security, that was enough to pay rent and a little bit of food and not enough for her to get all her medication. So a lot of kids are faced with dilemmas like that. And so I dealt with that with a couple kids, even as students. So a lot of my characters are kids I grew up with, some of my students, some of my former basketball players, and so I kind of roll them into various different characters in the book. So it kind of lets you know that Joseph is kind of on edge. He's a decent kid. His family is decent, but Roscoe is one of the neighborhood tough guys, so he has the rough crew, and so he squared off ready to fight Roscoe when they came out the store, and Roscoe said, "Man, peace. I got a message for you." And that's what he was explaining about his best friend that got locked up for breaking into cars when he was out of town the previous summer. And so, yeah. So my time limit, somebody give me my time limit. Mike, where are we time?
You're fine.
Where are we time? Okay, so I kind of wanted to give you an insight to Joseph, our main character, because he drives the story. He really does. So after they go to school on the other side of the track, he makes new friends because the FCC, as he said, is disbanded. Ox is still around, but Ox doesn't go to school anymore. Benny Lee's in juvie. Booker was another part of FCC who actually got put in a foster home because he had a big fight with his aunt that he was living with after he had this terrible breakup with his girlfriend. It's a great event right there because he was trying to cross some bounds and no, and so that just sent him on edge. And so FCC is pretty much disbanded, so now he's making friends, Joseph, on the other side of the tracks. But really, he's drawn to them, and they're drawn to him because of the giftings. Okay? The prophecy. And you kind of have to read straight through to see how they're drawn to each other. Even Robert. Him and Robert, when I think I'm gonna read that. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna read that. I gotta read it. Easties confront Joseph. Okay. So, all right. There's Robert and there's Joseph. They call him JG. Joseph Graham, JG. So now, when they go over to school, they make friends with two twins, Jace and Chase. And their best friend is Bryce. So you have the three Easties. Nobody's really black or white. There's the Easties and the Westies. Okay, the black kids are the Westies and the white kids are the Easties. Okay. So, Joseph and Robert's best friend is Big Cat. David. Big man child. 42-inch shoulders with a 32-inch waist, and he's 9th grade. So, he's just, so they call him Big Cat. Why? Because his name for everybody's Cat. What's up, Cat? You know, how you doing, Cat? You know, so the kids started calling him Big Cat. He's the Big Cat. So, anyway. So now, Joseph doesn't like parties because something happened at a birthday party when he was like 7 or 8. And it was very embarrassing. Got to read the book to find out. So his Eastie friends, they all play on the basketball team together. And the Easties play football with Robert and Big Cat. But they play baskets with Joseph. So they're really good friends, and they're all just kind of drawn to each other, but they kind of know why, but they really don't, because they were sworn to secrecy. And so now they throw this surprise birthday party for Joseph. He has no idea, at the skating rink. And so once they get there, this confrontation happens with some Eastie kids that had transferred out, and now they're coming back to the high school. When integrated schools, that first year the parents transferred them out, but now, oh, well, it's not so bad out there. They're coming back. So they're at the skating rink too. So, okay, so Joseph's just going, well, you certainly made a big splash on the way in. Who are you? Better yet, what are you? Cuban, Puerto Rican, mulatto? He asked. I looked up to find two well-dressed, solid-built Eastie boys. I didn't know them. By now, both skates were off. I stood to address the loudmouth. Over their shoulder, Bryce, the twins, Robert and Big Cat pressed their way through the crowd in my direction. I think the more important question would be, what business is that to you? I said, eyeballing him. Watch it, darky, his friend growled. A huge gasp escaped behind me. They cleared the area. I turned my attention to the name caller. Can either of you spell Puerto Rican? My parents taught me not to use words I couldn't spell. Jay, I see you met Dylan and Tyson, said Bryce, flying in between us. The twins took my flank. Robin and Big Cat stood just behind the troublemakers. By now, Charlie, Spider, these are the kids that played on the sports teams with the new crew. Stretch, Elijah, Matt, Bobby B, and Luther had the two surrounded. Some sophomore Easties tried to break through, but the wall wasn't having it. Bryce continued. These guys are friends of ours from our Little League days at Nestor Park. They're transferring back to East Side this year, Bryce spoke quickly. I think their names should be Butthead 1 and Butthead 2. For coming over here trying to start trouble, I said, continuing to stare them down. We weren't trying to start trouble, said Dylan. Well, why did you ask if I was a mulatto? And why did your friend call me a darky? My anger swelled. What? Why? Asked the twins, with red, hot, white knuckles at their side. Bryce's face turned a fire shade of red. His handsome morphed into a raging bear under his golden locks. He stepped aside, sensing fur was about to fly. I don't know. Ask them why they said it, I answered the twins. Tyson and Dylan tried to back away and bumped into Big Cat and Robert. These are the two football linemen. They turned around, then back at me. Where are you going? I asked sarcastically. Let me hear your smart mouth now, I said, stepping toward them, as did Bryce and the twins. Time slowed to a crawl. My anger rocketed. Hands, fire blazing. I flamed all over. My eyes started to cloud, turned the room gray. I saw the yellow in Dylan and Tyson. I turned to Jace. He turned to me. We weren't ourselves. He said, beat his ass without moving his lips. And he told me without making a sound. Bryce kept his snarl glued on them. He fought to control the angry bear inside him. Chase and Robert was fired up too. Their folded brows and slit eyes grew with fury. Mama said one day my anger would get the best of me, have me seeing red, out of control, doing something that I would regret for the rest of my life. Well, I was there. My friend's eyes were glowing with wrath too. Then I sensed the energy around me. It was dangerous. No, really, dangerous. Someone was going to get hurt bad. Big Cat's words came to memory. You'll do the right thing. Because he wasn't going to go to the skate party unless Big Cat went with him. Because he was afraid that something like this would happen. But Big Cat said, you'll make the right decision. Just know that we have your back either way. And with that, I took a hard blink. Very important. The room snapped back into full color. The time resumed. It seemed like 10 minutes had passed, but only a few seconds had passed. I squeezed the twins' white-hot fist that was at their side. They blinked. The lightning left their eyes. Bryce didn't want to let go. He was still boiling over how they had raked on their his best friends, Jace and Chase at the mall. I nudged Jace on the left. He placed his arm around Bryce and spoke out loud. You remember when we were in 4th grade and Dylan picked up a football and ran 40 yards in the wrong direction? There was a slight delay. Then a smile came from Bryce. Yeah, I remember. That was the same game I punted the ball 20 yards backwards. The craziest game ever, they laughed. So did Chase. Even Dylan and Tyson managed to smile. So you guys are coming back, huh? I asked Tyson and Dylan. Yeah, we are, answered Dylan. His tone had softened. Well, welcome back to the greatest class ever. 75, 75, 75, I began to chant. My classmates picked up the cheer. 75, 75, 75. It filled the room. Not to be outdone, the sophomores started their chant, 74, 74, 74. The call and response continued for several minutes. 75, 74, 75. Come on, you wacky teens. Let's do the limbo, said the DJ. Chase put his arms around Bryce and Jay, and let's go have some fun. Hey guys, welcome back, I said in a final measure of goodwill to Dylan and Tyson. So I wanted to read that because to set the stage that the gifts are starting to manifest in those 6 kids. And they know it. But who's going to tell the other first? The 2 twins have been practicing, so they're good. And Bryce actually know about the 2 twins because I'm not going to read that part. Because something happened to Bryce and the twins brought him back. And so Joseph is kind of mad at Robert because Robert kind of knew and didn't let on to Joseph because, yeah. So anyway, thanks for listening. I know that was kind of long and drawn out. I would have liked to finish with Joseph finally accepting his gift, but nobody likes to be read to forever. But I just wanted to give you sort of insight into how the book progresses. So the first half of the book ends with Joseph finally accepting the gifts when he's attempting to run away. He had made up his mind to run away at the end of the summer and not start school. He was going to New York City to live with his uncle. But he couldn't leave. He's caught up in a cycle. He's trying to cross the street, to go across the track. He's got his bags packed, got his backpack on, everything. And he's caught up in a whirlwind. And he had to quiet his spirit and listen. And he heard all of his friends' voices in the wind. Don't leave. We have things we got to take care of here. Don't run from it, run to it. He heard his mom's voice, you have a destiny. Lean into it. He heard his pastor, because he's trying to run away on a Sunday. And his pastor just preached a sermon. Will you accept your calling? It's so good. I'm not going to read it. It's so good. And so you get this 14-year-old kid just like having to surrender. How many 14-year-old kids are willing to do that? But parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, we're speaking all the time because we see something in a young person and you try to speak to that and you hope that it connects some kind of way. I always look at my teaching and my coaching and my writing as part of my gift. You know, and I hope that through it that people will find whatever it is that they need. Be it a connection, be it closure. There's a lot of people, I interview people in their 70s, late 70s, about bullying. And they can tell you word for word what that person said. They can tell you exactly what was done to them, where it was done, how it was done, who said. They're 78 years old. So bullying leaves a scar that sometimes never heals. But we move past it. We don't give that act of power anymore that it once had. So, yeah, Blurred Pains, they go on, the kids go on so many adventures after they finally confess to each other who they are and what they are. And their assignment that they have to do in this age, in this time, in this, I shouldn't say age, in this time period, because there were other veilers before them. And they have this book that tells of past veilers and gives a clue to what their assignment is. So good. So it's righting a lot of wrong. So thank you guys, thank you. Thank you for listening. I've taken up all your time. If Mike and Beth would like to kind of get together, if you have books, bring them up. I will sign them. If you want to purchase a book, see Mike or Beth, please get this one. This is the one that you need right now, and read it. And then if there's something that's not clear, go back and start with Blurred Pains, and then finish up with book 2. But this is the one that takes you on that journey. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to leave the camera on. I'm going to sign a couple of books, and then I'm going to sign off. Thank you, my shiners, for listening. I hope I didn't bore you too much with my reading, but hopefully I gave you some insight into Blurred Pains. All right? Thanks so much. All right.
Very interesting.
Well, thank you so very, very much. All right, this is the first one. Oh my gosh, you got all 3. I appreciate
I don't
you
know which one we want to
so,
vote on.
so,
You just write what you want.
no,
You write what you want.
no.
I can't
I
tell you.
graduated
Yeah,
in
just-
'03.
Yeah, what do you?
Which one would you prefer to write?
Oh, three.
I'm gonna write it on three.
Yeah, I thought.
Okay.
I'm gonna write it on
Okay.
three. Now, do you want me to make them out to you or to someone else?
I go to me.
Okay,
Best and family. How about Harvest and family?
okay.
And I
H-A-R-V-I-S.
floated around.
Now, is this